Hello. For those of you that don't know me, my name is James Dawson and I'm responsible for the training division within Odin Solutions. We've been running this now for a couple of years very successfully, and we're able to offer training for content authors, administrators and also developers. Sorry I can't be with you in person today, and I do hope that you're finding the event useful. What I'd like to do in this video is just share with you a few of the ideas and experiences that I have with regard to training, and hopefully then you'll get an idea of the approach that we like to take when we're putting together training packages for our clients, and also if you're looking at developing your own programs, some of the ideas that I'm going to talk about now will hopefully feed into that. First thing you need to look at is the actual installation itself. What are the content types that are in place? Which you use most often, and who is it that uses them? What's the structure of the site like? Is it one huge site, or are there lots of micro sites? How is the content spread amongst it? Is it all siloed content, or are there a lot of shared items, many of which contained in single folders? Then have a look at the templates. Are there a lot of page templates and snippet templates? And which are the ones that are going to be most commonly used by your content authors? It's important to have the right physical environment in which to deliver the training. Ideally, it's good to have a dedicated training suite suitably equipped with presentation equipment and PCs for your content authors. Certainly don't want to be delivering training in busy open plan offices with lots of interruptions from phone calls and emails and the general hustle and bustle. I'm reminded of a training session that I ran for one of our university clients, and we'd been given one of the student resource rooms in which to conduct the training. Seemed perfect, lots of computers for everybody to use, presentation equipment for display. All the delegates arrived, we locked the door and started the training. What we didn't realise was that there was another door at the back of the room. Over the course of the training, or towards the middle of the training, a couple of students crept in through this back door, sat down, started quietly getting on with some work. I didn't think this was too much of a problem, so I carried on. But then, over the course of the session, more and more students snuck in through this back door, started setting about doing some work, making phone calls, having conversations, and before long they were being quite disruptive. My delegates were struggling to concentrate on the training at hand, and I certainly wasn't really in a position where I could ask people to shut up and get out. So, when you find your room, make sure that all your exits are covered. You also don't really want dark basements. I've been shoved down in the basement before, very little natural light, poorly equipped, people cramped around computers trying to see what's going on. It's never nice when you're stuck in a room, a cramped little room. All you want to do is get out of there and get some lunch. It's very difficult for you to engage in the training and take in what's being taught. You next need the right virtual environment. Again, ideally you want to have a dedicated training space, a dedicated training server which is only going to be used for the purposes of training. If that's not possible, then you can always use a development server if that's strictly necessary. However, if you are using a development server, make sure that there's no development being done on it at the same time. I was at another client's once. This time I was there within a consultancy capacity, and they were running their own training sessions. They were doing it on the development box at the same time as the development team were deploying fixes and trying to create new content types. The server kept crashing and stalling. The poor lady that was delivering the training sessions was forever running into the room trying to find out what was going on, because people partaking on the training were certainly not able to get on and do what they needed to do. So make sure you've got a dedicated virtual space for your training, and make sure that there's no other interactions taking place on You need to make sure that the equipment that you're using is up to the job. Most of the desktop PCs that your content authors are likely to have are going to be pretty good spec, and they're generally going to have fairly up-to-date software on there. But that's not always the case in the training rooms or in the training environments. So do make sure that the machines that are in there are not running any out-of-date browsers, that the Java that's on there is a relevant version that's going to run all of the features that you need within the CMS. Make sure that you're not running any outdated operating systems. It's certainly been the case where, again, within the universities you come across a resource room, somebody's rolled out a particular image across all of the machines in there, and you suddenly find that they've rolled back a version of the Java and half of the features of the CMS don't work, and you try and do the training and people start struggling because the browser's crashing, and that's never a good thing. It's very important to focus on the users. You need to structure the training so that it's geared around the tasks that the content authors are going to be most frequently performing. So you need to talk to the business owners and find out what their expectations are. What are the things that they're expecting the content authors to be able to do and be able to achieve once they've completed the training. And then we start off with the basics. We teach the basics first and then move on to some of these other elements. But there's no point in showing people all the whistles and bells and the advanced features if they're never going to need to do it when they actually get back to their desk and start using the system in earnest. The approach that we take is to devise some very bespoke packages and some very bespoke exercises based around the understanding that we have of a client's installation, and also very much focused on the tasks that the business users are going to be expecting to be able to perform. It's important to get an understanding of the organisation, particularly to find out whether there are any politics at work. When a CMS is being deployed within an organisation, there is often departments and individuals that are resistant to that change. They see it as a burden, they don't see it as the useful tool that it can be. So find out if you're going to have any awkward customers in your training so that you can prepare yourself for that. Many times the training is the first experience that people will have with the system, and we want it to be a positive one. So understanding the politics can go some way to building bridges and making sure that the deployment as a whole is a success.